Welcome to the Enhance Podcast. I'm your host, Colin Maple. I'm here with our co-founder, Kent Mueller. This is our Founders Edition, Founders Series. Last episode with Niles, now with Kent. Kent, how you doing?
Doing well, thanks. Thanks, Colin.
Great to have you on. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I was looking forward to these Founders Edition episodes because I don't often get to talk with you and Niles like as much as I would like to. So I was really excited for these.
Thank you. And it's been exciting. Here we are, 4 years into the journey, and let's see where the future goes.
Yeah, absolutely. No, excited, especially the place that we're at. I mean, booming side of Indianapolis. We're in the Columbia property, not to market our own properties, but exciting to get to be here, to get to see the growth on the street. And then, really focusing this episode on real estate investing. Yeah. So super excited to have this conversation with you just about the basics of investing 101 even, because I know a lot of people, myself included, want to get into real estate investing. We don't always, or at least myself, I don't always know how to get into the market. I don't know how to start. And so that's really where we wanted to focus this episode, is maybe starting from scratch from, a couple different scenarios, whether somebody has a lot of money, a little bit of money, how we can start. And so, really kicking that off with what are, if somebody wanted to get into real estate investing, what are some of the barriers that they might come across when they're first starting?
Well, that's a great question, Colin. And what one really needs to first identify is, do they want to be a passive investor or an active investor? When I say passive investor, I'm really talking about someone that just wants to invest money and receive what we call just like mailbox money. They're passively investing into an opportunity. Those individuals can link up with companies like Enhance or other investors that they just produce the seed money. The company will go out and renovate and flip homes, and then they get a return on their investment. The other side of the equation takes a little bit longer to build a portfolio, and that's an active investor. Mm-hmm. That is where someone says, hey, I want to go out and buy a rental portfolio, or I want to go and flip homes. That's where they'll go out and source the deals. They will fund them, find funding sources, do the work, hire the work out, and then they get to sell it and reap the rewards that way. Mm-hmm. So really the first step is, how much time do I want to invest? Not how much money, how much time do I want to invest? Then the second avenue is, how much money do I want to invest? Where do I need to go find the money funds? And do I have my cost in line?
Yeah, because I think, and I'm glad you unpacked that, the difference between active and then passive investing, because I feel like that's a great way to fork the conversation, go one way or the other, because a lot of people, they might have a full-time job. They want to get into real estate investing, but maybe just more on the passive side compared to maybe somebody wants to make a career out of doing it themselves on the active side. And this is the Founders episode. So how did you and Niles start? Did you guys start on the active side?
Well, I'll take a step back. So I was raised in a family that we had rental properties. Mm-hmm. And my father became a landlord, not by choice, but because he sold his house, or he actually bought a house and didn't sell his previous house. And so he became a landlord by being forced into it. Mm-hmm. I don't recommend that at all. You choose to be a landlord. You don't want to force yourself to be a landlord. So, and then I learned a lot of skills growing up, just on how to fix homes, how to evaluate, put the right money into where it needs to be. But then when my wife and I got married, we developed a rental portfolio of our own. I became an active investor where I took my own money, bought the properties, and took care of the maintenance, took care of the upkeep, different things of that nature. If an individual wants to do that, it's really kind of slow growth. But then it takes off over time. Because when someone looks at being an active landlord, you're looking about making $200 a door a month. So if an AC goes out and that's $3,500, that's 7 months that it's going to take. So it requires a little bit more capital. And then fast forward to when Niles and I started this business, we were both active and passive, meaning I invested some funds on our first few deals, and I still do. But we were active. The very first home we did, I kid you not, we were there 6 days a week, 12 hours a day for 40 days. And you know what? We completed that, put it on the market, and we made $13,000. So to answer your question, when we started, Niles and I, we were more active. But as we have grown the business and we have a team around us, we becoming more active managing the business, but passive as an investment.
Gotcha. So it can grow over time. Like you don't always have to be one or the other. You can kind of double dip.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
But my stress is when people think of real estate, oh, I need to go buy a rental portfolio or I need to flip these homes. People don't also think about being the passive side, being the money behind the deals. I'll tell you what, it's so nice just to go to the mailbox once a month and, pull a check out. There's a lot less headache and a lot less stress than sourcing out materials, fixing all the fixes that at 10 o'clock they call and say, hey, my hot water is broken or I've got water dripping. It's just so nice to be a passive investor.
If I want to do it, how can I tell when I'm ready? Is there a set knowledge base? Is there a certification? What are some of those things that I might need before I get started? Or is it really just the want to be able to do it and then determining what time I need to do it?
Well, that's a great question, Colin. And I'll tell you right now, it's never about want because I want to lose 10 pounds. And by wanting to do that, unless I have action, it's not going to happen. So I think the question is what action steps should we take? Number one, education. There are podcasts out there. There are local RIAs. And there's even a bunch of masterminds. We're at the point now where we're in several mastermind groups because we need to constantly learn from other people that are in front of us. But we also need to help the people behind us and help them and pull them along. So educate yourself and find out and ask yourself the question, or the individual the question, what do I really want to do? And if the ultimate goal is to make a lot of money, to me, the why is wrong. You got to start with your why. Why do you want to do it and what are you after? If you want to build long, sustainable growth, then be an active investor. If you just want to relax, make a little bit less profit, then just become a passive investor and let someone deal with it. But know your why and know your education. So to answer your question, education, education, education. It's not about want. It's about learning.
And I know for a lot of people, they might have the question of timing as well. It's, having that, I want to put in that action, but maybe I'm skeptical on, I guess timing the market or when to get into the market. Would you say there's ever a right or wrong time? Or would you say it's really just about that action piece, linking up with the right people and moving forward with it? Would you say that there's a good time or a bad time to do it?
No, there's always a good time. Today, take an action. You said the key word, take action today. That doesn't mean go buy a bad deal.
Right.
But it means take action today. Yes, interest rates are high. Yes, inventory is low. Yes. But all you have to do is find that one deal that you can make your numbers work and then go act on it. A lot of people sit here and we call it analysis by paralysis. They will think that they will have to have all their I's dotted, all their T's crossed. They will have to know this, that, and the other. And they get so polarized and paralyzed that they don't make any action. So what we try to stress is take a step and make an action point. And now's a good time to buy.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to steer a parked car. You have to be in motion to be able to make decisions.
Correct.
And change stuff like that. Yeah, and it's so much better. I mean, I'm so with you on that philosophy rather than sitting in my underwear at my dining room table on my laptop just waiting to time the market, but instead going out and doing it.
Kind of like me running. Me sitting on my couch does a lot of effect for me running 10 miles this weekend, doesn't it?
Yeah, you and me both. Hey, I have to plan it out. I have to make sure I have everything ready. No, yeah, just going out and doing it. Yeah, no, that's such a good point. And I really wanted to also talk to you about what are the advantages of investing in real estate rather than other investments? Because I think that's especially with the state of the economy right now is, why real estate when it might seem volatile or, it might seem risky, some might say, at certain times in certain markets. So what are some of the benefits of investing in real estate, period? And then we'll get into maybe real estate compared to some other things. So what would you say are some of the benefits of investing in real estate?
Any investment is risk.
Right.
Any investment, regardless if it's real estate, the stock market, putting it in a bank, anything there is risk to something. So the question has to be answered, what level of risk am I willing to take? That needs to be asked of someone. Secondly, I can sit here and say that my self-directed 401k has made 14% year to date in 2022.
It's great growth.
That's great growth.
Yeah.
Because I am loaning it to people I know in the real estate space, and I am funding their deals. Hence the mailbox money that I was talking about, being a passive investor. But with the state of the economy right now and the market, I think the latest is that the Dow is down 20% for the year. A lot of 401ks have taken a hit. The third thing that you got to understand is when someone invests in a local RIA or a company like ourselves, and they have an asset-backed loan and mortgage, they have the rights to the property if the company defaults. So they almost have a security that they can, recover some of their money, or if not all.
Right. It's like a physical asset. It's not just going to poof, it's gone
Correct.
overnight. Yeah.
So let's take that, and when you talk about the stock market, what are you actually buying? If you invest in Apple, what are you buying?
Stake in the company. Maybe it's, maybe it'll grow, maybe it won't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what tangible asset do you have when you buy a stock?
Nothing, maybe a piece of paper on some Wall Street guy's desk.
There you go. So there's a lot of myths about investing in real estate. And you know what? I get it. Some people have been taken advantage before in the past. And, how do I know that you're really going to spend my money on that house? Well, number one, it's like I said, understand that it is a risk. Number two, when other OPM, when people use other people's money,
Yeah.
usually you do it with people you trust.
Yeah.
And that trust takes some time. It's like one of our investors. I'll tell you this. 4 years ago, he invested in one deal, and he was like 30% of the investment. And since then, he has grown his investment to over 7 figures in 4 years. Now, that took him some time and some trust, and understand that we had a system in place and that he could trust us with that amount of money. And he's a mailbox passive investor right now.
Yeah.
So I know I'm going in circles, but there is the same amount of risk investing in the real estate industry versus the stock market. It's just, if you do it correctly in the real estate industry, you can have an asset-backed security. Or I shouldn't say security, asset-backed asset
Right.
for your investment.
Right. Yeah. I think that's a great myth to dispel, because I know, especially by all means, we are not financial advisors. This isn't financial advice, but I think with anything, I mean, that's such a great point that you made. Like any investment that you make, you need to know the numbers, because at any point, stocks could be bad, stocks could be good. Yep. Same thing. If you don't know the numbers and you're getting into a bad house, that could be a bad investment. But if you're getting into a great home, you know your numbers, you know your budget, well, then you can make a great amount of money on that.
Correct.
Yeah. So what are some other big myths in the real estate industry that somebody might have on their mind when first getting into investing in real estate?
Get rich quick.
So you're saying I can't just do this 6 months from now and quit my job? Like, is that?
Statistically speaking, there's always a chance, but most likely no.
That's a great answer.
So the best way when one wants to build net worth. First off, I'm going to put a plug. To me, net worth starts with self-worth, which leads to net worth. Sorry, that's just one of those things for me that always go together. But the best way to build net worth over time is a turtle, tortoise, to a hare, and then you run. Crawl, walk, run. And so a lot of people get into the real estate industry thinking they're going to make a lot of money. It's easy. You got the HGTVs that make you look like, oh, I can make $70,000 flipping this house. And, they just make it look so simple and easy. Let me tell you, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not. Sometimes you're going to lose money. $50,000, $70,000. Sometimes you're going to make $50,000, $70,000. Unless you have enough volume to sustain your wins and your losses, and your wins are going to win out. I heard an interesting statistic that Annie Duke, a poker player, her winning statistic is about 62%. So what does that mean for every dollar that she chooses to bet on? What's going to happen most likely?
Yeah, it's 60% chance she's going to win. 40 percent chance she might lose.
So if you know you're going to win 62% of the time, dump all your money into it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So with the real estate industry, you don't want to do that at first because you want a good track record with a great investment company. But eventually, once you know your odds, then just keep ramping it up and up and up. Then that's when you make all the money, Colin. Not at the beginning. As I said earlier in the podcast, it goes back to the why. If you want to do this or anything in life, if it's all about money, 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 your motive, for me, the motive is wrong.
Yeah, you're in it for the wrong reason.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you can be service to others, it's kind of like our core values, personal and professional development. It's like our mission, changing lives one house at a time. Because if we can change not only the people that we buy the house from, but our contractors, our employees, the people we sell the house to, the neighborhood, man, we are making a difference. And if we can put a smile on someone else's face, if we can take a burden off of them, just think how that makes you feel. Man, I don't know about you, but I can go to sleep better at night.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And that mindset probably also helps to, like, if you did just lose money on a house, something, went wrong, and unpredictable happened, kind of a black swan situation maybe, that why probably helps push you through that rather than, oh, we lost money, real estate must just not be in for me and we'll just get out of it kind of thing. That probably helps, through some of those downtimes. And I would imagine, especially with the way the economy is now, having that mindset, we're probably going to, the industry might shed some people that may have only been in it for money, and you'll see people come out of it that were really in it for the right reasons.
You are correct, Colin. We are seeing so many new, what we call wholesalers, direct marketing into companies that are from outside of Indianapolis trying to target this market. And it's like, if you are an outside company trying to target Indianapolis, how do you really know the needs and the wants of, the neighborhoods and the people around you? So I get what they're doing, but when you want to grow, do it systematically and make sure that you always put the motive of the others greater than yourself.
And to kind of move forward with that thought. So do you think, if somebody were to start doing it locally would probably be the best, so we know, the areas we can get eyes on everything? Because I think it's really attractive. Especially like Chip and Joanna Gaines, they're down in Texas. They can be in a hot market and that looks so attractive. We just need to invest in Texas. Would you recommend investing locally, or do you think, can you kind of do it? And, this is a personal question of my own. If I wanted to get into it, is it best to do it locally starting out rather than, just looking for a hot market someplace else?
That's a great question, Colin. And I know people that do this business or this real estate business remotely, where they live in California and their target audience is in Florida. That's where they buy the homes, renovate them, and sell them. And they do a lot via virtual assistants and virtual conversations. What I'm going to answer is me personally. The rental property that my wife and I own, it's 5 to 7 minutes from my house. You know what? I'm the type of person that I do a little bit more hands-on management. Goes back to my why, goes back to understanding what I need and want. And it's close enough for me to drive to and go look at it. If someone is good systems and processes where they can have a virtual team set up and they can have the processes in place, the systems in place, then go into another market. But I get back to, for me, I personally want to trust somebody. I want to meet them. I want to be able to talk to them. So the question I'm not really answering, because the answer is both.
Right. Yeah. Depends.
Yes, or yes, but. So, but for me, I like to keep it local, or at least have boots on the ground that I can trust.
Right. And it sounds like building those relationships are huge, especially, if you're going to be more that mailbox passive versus, yourself, you like to get to know people. I think I'm more that way, but there might also be, like you were mentioning, some people might just want to do this completely remotely, maybe just have a relationship, over the phone with somebody or, virtually through email, stuff like that. So I guess kind of touch on more of those relationships. How do you go about building some of those relationships? How have you done it? Has it just been through, local groups? You mentioned RIAs before. What is a RIA?
So a RIA is a local real estate investment group. Indianapolis has one that meets on the east side of Indianapolis. And that's where just once a month, a group of investors, whether it be vendors, wholesalers, banks, buyers, all these companies come together and they just kind of give you a state of what the market's doing and kind of networking. For myself, we're part of a larger mastermind group that it goes across the country. That's where I met people, and that's where I've developed the understanding of what their business is, how their business operates, and where I've developed that level of trust. A guy I know in this mastermind group, I think has loaned over 200 loans to individuals, and he's only been burned once.
Wow.
And that one time he got burned was it because it was a referral of a referral of a referral, not somebody he knew. So for me, the growth I've gone through, the growth our company has gone through, we have attributed directly to joining this mastermind group. And if somebody wants to do a one-off, yeah, you may not need to spend the $15,000 to $20,000 a year for a program like this. But if you have the vision to grow it, you really need to be a part of something greater and something bigger. Someone that says, hey, I think I'm doing this. Can you shed some light? What do I need to be doing differently?
Would you say a lot of those RIAs, they probably have Facebook groups? You can probably reach out to them that way and then, find your way in person. Is that a pretty good way to?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Or just anybody can do any type of local RIA search. And they have them for multifamily. They have them for single family. They have them for anything real estate related.
Gotcha. So it doesn't matter if I want to be that passive person, doesn't matter if I want to be that active person. That would be a pretty good resource.
More on the active side, the local RIAs are. Yes. Okay. The passive side becomes more important when you develop relationships and partnerships and you understand what people's motives are and their direction and who you can trust. So yeah, if somebody wants to get into the local real estate market, me and your local RIA is the way to go. If you want to do a couple a year, plug in there. You'll get some great resources. If you want to grow big and your vision is bigger than that, you might want to look to a different mastermind group, something that can give you the tools and the tactics that you need.
Yeah. And then you touched on it before. I want to unpack this, or I guess explore these different avenues, and that being the different kinds of real estate that you can invest in. Because I would imagine, depending on your seriousness, maybe might determine what kind of investing that you're doing. And what I mean by that is, getting into rentals, or maybe on that active side, buying an existing home, flipping it, or building new and selling it, or maybe even getting into commercial. Touch on a couple different kinds of real estate investing that you can do. Is it, if I want to be passive, is it only more of those rentals, or can I really get with a company that does it all?
No, great question. So let's start how we started. We started a renovation where we bought a distressed property, put money into it, brought it up to modern standards, put it back on the market, and made a profit. That's one way to do it. We sourced where to get the money from. We paid them a profit or an interest rate. And at the end of the day, we made $13,000. The second way is rental properties. Rental properties have a couple different buzz names out there, short-term rentals, Airbnbs, single-family homes. When we're talking about rental properties, the first thing is, do I want to be a landlord? Do I want to be a long-distance landlord? Do I want to field those phone calls? Or am I going to have great enough deals that I hire a property management company? Then when you find all those answers out, do you go buy a duplex that already has tenants in it? Or do you buy a duplex that is in distressed and that you're going to have to fix it up, refinance it, pull the cash out, and move on to the next one? Same with single family homes. So the whole point is you got to make sure that each deal is profitable. Then you also have industrial buildings, multifamily, land. So there's many different options out there. The real question is passive versus active. And once an individual figures that out, then they can start exploring which avenue.
Gotcha. We kind of touched on the market a little bit. At different times, is it better to invest in different kinds of real estate? Like if, I guess it really depends on that active versus passive, but at different times, is it better to invest in different real estate, or is it kind of the same? It just depends on which avenue you're on.
You know what I love about these conversations in
What?
real estate.
What?
Yes, and.
Yeah.
Or yes, but. Because there is no right or wrong answer. So you ask the question, is there a better time to invest in single family homes or rentals or apartment complex? That's a deeper question that can be unpacked. In the short, the best time to invest is when?
Now, yesterday.
Now. Yep. There you go.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is, it's always about the buy. People got to understand you make most of your money on the buy side, not on the sell side. So throw out how if it's going to be a rental or if you're going to flip it or hold it long term or hold it short term. Most of your actual profit comes from the buy. So understand that. Right now, here in Indianapolis, man, we're short when it comes to single family homes. We're short when it comes to apartments. Actually, and we're short right now on grade B, grade C industrial buildings under 20,000 square feet. So when's the best time to invest?
Today.
Today. Understand your level of risk you want to take. Understand who you can partner with and whether you want to be an active or a passive investor.
That's a great answer. Are there any other good pieces of advice to give somebody looking to get into real estate investing? We had touched on the myths a little bit. Are there any other tips or tricks that you would give somebody that came to you and said, "Hey, I want to get into this"?
When people do that, Colin, and they do,
Yeah.
my first question back to them is why. Number one, identify your why. Man, if I was sitting here with a bow and arrow and I was shooting it straight at that garage and I hit that garage every time, I think I won, right?
Right.
But I didn't have a bullseye on there. The bullseye is the why. Understand your why first. Secondly, once you find your why, figure out if you want to be passive or active. At that point determines your level of risk and your level of return. And then what you're supposed to do?
Yeah, action.
Action. Educate yourself, make a plan, don't get analysis paralysis, and get with a team. Not only a team of within your company, but the local RIAs or the masterminds, or just somebody that you can relate to and that can steer you and give you advice. As I said earlier, we're all on this ladder. Some are above us, some are below us. And in my personal opinion, the people above us have helped us climb the rings, and I'm just helping the people below us. So we love helping people.
To get into because this is a piece that I like talking with you about, I don't think I get enough time with you on, is, that mindset side, because that's something that's so attractive. I think that's more important than so many other pieces of information that we could give, or advice that you can give is, linking up with somebody like yourself and just getting to know more about their mindset. Like you said, help climb one of those, the rungs on the ladder. So with finding my why, that's something that I've struggled with. I got to be honest, I've read some of the books, I've read Simon Sinek, and sometimes that is a struggle and it's changed a little bit over time. What advice would you give to somebody that's looking to find their why? I know you do an exercise with people on our team that's asking a couple different questions to narrow that down to get to it. But without taking it, too personal, we could do another episode on that. I'd love to.
Oh, yes.
Just delving into more of that mindset. What are some questions that somebody could ask themselves to really find their why?
Well, that's great. And you talked about mindset, man, my eyes just perked up. I'm like, let's go. I'll be honest, in February of this year, my mind shift even went from like 1,000 to 1,000,000. And it just really made me realize that the limiting beliefs I still have. The one thing I realized, I could go out and make $100,000 tomorrow if I needed to. And I just didn't have enough faith or enough belief in myself or my mindset. So you talk about what are some tips or tactics that, to help us talk about our mindset. And what I'm going to be honest, my number one thing is get with someone you trust. You got to be honest with somebody. I'm going to tell myself yes. When I should be telling myself no. So really linking up with someone that really knows me and that can ask me the tough questions. A couple other things I've learned throughout this year is Dr. Shannon Irving. She does brain priming and really the 7 whys. You know, like for example, tell me if you want to say, I want to run a marathon.
Yeah, I want to run a marathon.
Why do you want to run a marathon?
I want to get in shape.
Why do you want to get in shape?
Oh, I don't like the way I look.
Why don't you like the way you look?
Man, it's just tough when I look in the mirror. I get down on myself, you know, less confidence when I know I'm not in shape.
So Colin, why do you look down on yourself? So I only did that 4 times. And usually the 4th and 5th time, it turns inward. So if you looked at your questions up to that point, it was all external.
Right.
But then I asked you that tough question where you had to go internal. Just think if you did that on any major decision, how that would help you identify your mind shift or mindset.
Right.
You know, the other thing I've learned over the past couple of years, I try to do this religiously every morning, is savers. I'm sure you're familiar with savers.
Yeah, go ahead.
Silence, affirmation, visualization, exercise, reading, and S for scribing, writing. Taking 10 to 15 minutes every day to accomplish those 6 items. And it just sets your mind at a place where I can do this. I can work through this. Is life hard? Absolutely. Does shit happen? Absolutely. But it doesn't change the way I can look at something. So that's just a few. I mean, let's talk about mindset again, and mind shift and mindset, because man, that's passion to me. Because if I can help someone in that arena change their own lives, because it's only what God's given to me and the people I've been around, that's where I think God has me on this journey.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's a teaser for another episode, by the way. We're definitely having Kent back on for that episode, because that's something that, you know, some people have physical prisons, but some other people, you know, they carry it around with them everywhere they go. And that's, you know, that mental prison. So breaking out of that's such a limiting factor, I know, for myself. So that's, you know, another episode that's, you know, here soon to come. So Kent, just to land this plane, you know, where can people find you on, you know, social media? How can we stay plugged in with what you're doing and, you know, what you might be thinking?
You know, and I'm going to look at the camera, to be honest. I've got a marketing team that is going to put my contact information on there, because I don't know. I don't need to know. We got a team of people. They'll put my email address or my social media. But if anything, I'm one of the owners of the company. They know where to find me.
Yeah, we'll have his information down below, or like maybe on the screen somewhere. You know, marketing team will do something, you know, fancy with it and post. But yeah, no, Ken, I know we have a Facebook, you know, we have some of those other avenues. We don't have a TikTok yet. That'd be exciting. That'd be pretty funny.
Hey, I've got some videos that the team got me shooting before that probably would make the TikTok, you know.
No way.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, going up the stairs, yeah. Oh yeah.
So stuff to look forward to. Again, this has been Kent Mueller, one of the co-founders of our company, Enhance Property Solutions. Guys, this has been the Enhance Podcast. I'm your host, Colin Maple. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, Colin.